Joining us right now is TalkTV's royal correspondent, Rupert Bell. Good afternoon to you, Rupert. Well, I mean, another day, another royal story, not a happy royal story. This news emerged at 6 o'clock last night. It's gone around the world. This is leading broadcasts and newspapers around the world. Because, again, the UK monarch, obviously the Queen on the throne for so long, one of the most widely respected figures and probably the most famous woman in the world, well known. And also, the King, obviously also, a huge figure in the world. Those tributes coming in thick and fast at home and abroad.
Yes, and not surprisingly, obviously, politicians from all sides have been making their statements, wishing the King well. Misha O'Neill in Northern Ireland, for example, and obviously the main party leaders. President Biden's got in on the act, and plenty others had. And I have to say, when you think we were talking about other royal issues 24 hours ago, this has definitely come as a surprise, because when you think on Sunday, you saw the King purposefully walking to church. You probably thought, and everybody thought, well, that's great. He's recovered well from his prostate treatment, and all looks good. But there was definitely the fact that he stayed in for 3 days suggests that that's when they were doing other tests. And now we all know. But as Oliver's quite rightly saying, we won't expect any further information about his condition. He will just now be allowed to get on with that treatment while carrying out his duties in a private capacity.
Indeed. Now, I'm very much of the view, look, there's a lot of praise that the King speaking openly about the prostate treatment and talking about the cancer. I'm kind of the view that actually there wasn't really any choice in this day and age. These things get out, and it's better to be ahead of it and control it. And again, give out some information, but not necessarily all the information, because frankly, we've got no damn right to it. And I absolutely defend their right to privacy there. There was also the issue whether or not, if you once enough people know, not just him being spotted going to hospital, him having to withdraw from public duties. Same with Princess of Wales, abdominal surgery, that's all we've been allowed to know. I don't see why we even needed to know that much, but a long recuperation period, unable to attend public duties, not on the front pages every day in another new lovely outfit. We were going to notice. They have no choice. In days gone by, the palace didn't have to be so open because it was basically covered up by the editors. We know, Prince Harry was able to go and fight in Afghanistan for 6 months, and quite rightly, the media kept that quiet because he would be at high risk of kidnapping, he'd be targeted, and he was able to do it. And the moment that emerged in foreign media, then he had to be withdrawn. So he's been very resentful about ever since. But I wonder how much we can trust what the palace says to us. We know that the palace has lied, has not given the whole truth many, many times before. So how much can we trust what they're telling us?
I think we have to, at this moment, take everything on face value. It's down the line, if there are suddenly more serious ramifications about his treatment, that then you might be wanting to know more. But bearing in mind, when the Queen was in latter years, all we got was that she had mobility issues. They are very reluctant to go out on a limb and be too open. But I think we have to applaud the fact that we've got as much as we have. And actually, you're quite right. Within this age where everything, the 24-hour news cycle, we do know everything, that if they don't turn up to engagement, immediately people start speculating. And it's going to be hard, particularly for the Prince of Wales, because he's got concerns on two fronts, not only about his father, but his wife has clearly had a major problem that required her to stay in hospital for 14 days. So for him, which will be expected for him to step up to the plate in a way and carry out some of the duties the King would have expected to do, will be a demand on his time. But and he will now have to juggle that service to his country and the loyalty to his wife and children.
Do you know what? I'm going to step in there. No, he's going to have to juggle.
Yeah.
Like most people, when there's a family illness, he's going to have to juggle work commitments. For most people, it's not just service to your country, it's about the ability to pay the rent, put food on the table for your kids. He's got a lot of stuff. I wouldn't wish any family, a member of family having cancer, or what's happened with his wife. And look, and they're obviously a family with young children, they want to be certain kind of parents. So many families go through this, and so many families struggle financially. They haven't got an income at the same time. They can't just say, I'll stop work for a month because someone's ill, because they literally can't pay the bills. Or they do stop work and then they're destitute. And there isn't enough financial help for people. So with all due respect to the family and to you, let's not pretend that they're in the worst possible scenario.
No one is suggesting that for a second, and clearly he's got, and the King's, and both the King and Princess of Wales have had the best possible treatment, and luckily they are in
That
that
money
situation to
can
get that.
buy. No, that money can buy, because most people can't afford to
Well,
go private.
well, exactly. So therefore, they are in that situation that they can do that, and the fact that there's always a sort of royal medical team
Yeah.
poised and has been throughout history for members of the royal family. So it was ever thus in that respect that they've always had better treatment than most of us are able to get. So we have to accept that. But the King, they will have to manage it. They have got themselves into with the fact that they have the Sussexes have no longer working royals, the Duke of York, so they are short-staffed, and so the King and is now going to have to rely to some extent on his son to get back out there whilst his wife recuperates as much as possible.
And Queen Camilla stepping up as well, and of course Edward and Sophie and Anne and the stalwarts. Can we just talk very briefly about Prince Harry, though, if he is actually on a plane, as it was reported this morning, on his way back to the UK? It's a long flight from California, obviously. The circus will be around him no matter what, won't it?
It will be, and that's why we've got to try and avoid the soap opera element. Let's just take all that away. He's coming back to see his father and to see for himself just what the situation is. How that manifests itself within the family dynamic, that's for the royal family to sort out. It's clearly been uncomfortable. In the last few years, of course, Harry hasn't held back in his criticism of various members of the royal family, but this is at least, it may be a way to start some sort of rapprochement, but don't expect it to happen overnight.
No, indeed.
But he's done exactly the right thing in coming back to see his father.
Rupert Bell, thank you very much indeed, our TalkTV royal correspondent there.